Little sage, today let's reflect on what nature can teach us about life. When was the last time you paused simply to observe a tree, or sat by the edge of a river just to listen to its murmur? In a world that pushes us towards speed, consumption, and constant production, nature remains a silent invitation to a deeper, truer existence, a life in harmony with the eternal rhythms of creation. Nature is a silent teacher, and her lessons are revealed to those who know how to listen. Trees, for example, teach us about patience. A seed planted today does not bear fruit tomorrow. Likewise, both our spiritual and personal lives require the cultivation of waiting, of invisible maturation. As it says in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven." Modern society deceives us with the illusion that we can reap without sowing, that we can speed up the soul's processes as easily as pressing buttons on a smartphone. But nature, wise and serene, reminds us, true growth takes time. Patience is not passivity, it is active trust in the invisible. By observing a river, we learn about resilience. The river does not fight against the stones. It gracefully flows around obstacles, adapting to circumstances without losing its final destination, the ocean. How many times when facing the obstacles of life do we harden ourselves, resist, and hurt? The river teaches, gentleness can be stronger than brute force. Jesus himself offers us this image in John 7:38. "Whoever believes in me, as scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them." This living water is the expression of spiritual life that does not halt before difficulties, but flows, renews, and transforms. The seasons of the year teach us about the inevitable cycles of existence. There are moments of blossoming and moments of falling. There are springs of new beginnings and autumns of farewell. Sometimes we long for an eternal summer. But both biblical wisdom and life experience show us that life is made of cycles, of joys and sorrows, of victories and losses, of births and deaths. Psalm 1 speaks of the righteous as a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season. There is no use in forcing flowers to bloom outside of spring. There is intrinsic beauty in every season, even in the silent winter, where life withdraws only to be reborn with greater strength. The acceptance of change, so gracefully demonstrated by nature, is perhaps one of the hardest lessons for human beings. We fight against what is inevitable. We want to freeze time, avoid losses, cling to what must naturally pass. But everything passes, except that which is eternal. Everything changes, except the one who is unchanging. To accept change, then, is to trust that even in apparent chaos, there is a greater order sustaining the universe. Philosophy invites us to this same perception. Heraclitus already affirmed, "Nothing is permanent except change." But while many see this as a source of anxiety, nature shows us that there is beauty in every transformation. The butterfly does not fear the end of the caterpillar. The river does not mourn, leaving its banks behind to reach the sea. To reconnect with nature is, therefore, to reconnect with the very essence of life. In Romans 1:20, Paul declares, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made." By contemplating creation, we touch the fingerprints of the Creator. So, little sage, remember, nature does not shout but teaches. It does not rush but transforms. It does not judge. It simply is. May we learn to look at it not as something separate from us, but as part of who we are. May we learn to wait like the trees, to flow like the rivers, to trust the cycles like the seasons. And above all, may we listen in the silence of creation to the echo of God's voice calling us back home.